wanted to take you through some color combinations that just work for lime green. And I will talk you through my rationale for why I picked certain colors. This first one, I'm really using the greens as a backdrop for a flower design that I'll be doing with impasto paints. But this first type of color selection is really an analogous color selection. So I started with a light lime green and worked my way down to a dark lime green. I'm swiping over this with white just to get a little bit of design and interest for the background. But really, lime green you don't have to be scared of. It works really, really well with a lot of different color palettes. When I started, I thought, lime green is not a color that I work with often, but when mixed with the right colors, it can truly be the star of the show. This painting was really fun. It was a collaboration and the inspiration was taken from a field of flowers. So what you'll see me do after this painting dries is embellish it with some beautiful flowers. And I used yellow, magenta, and a beautiful purple. And against the lime green background, it really gave the resemblance of a flower field in a very abstract way. And I love that. Here I'm just adding in a bunch of leaves at the bottom, just starting to embellish the painting, and I'm sticking with that same green palette of lime green, viridian green, sap green, a lot of different green colors. Just adding on some leaves wherever I feel. And now it's time to add the impasto flowers. So this is acrylic paint that is mixed with a gloss medium and then a gloss gel and a soft and hard gel. And this was so much fun to try to create the different variations of flowers. I've done a couple of these now, and they really, really come out well, and the colors just are so vibrant, and I love the thick paint technique. I didn't want to overpower the canvas, so I just added a few pops of color so that the eye could kind of move across the canvas. And I decided to do one super beautiful bright yellow flower to add a little bit of interest there. I tried to do some of them in different designs, and I think it came out super cool. So an analogous color set is a way that you can use your lime green. The next is one of my favorite color combinations, and you can't go wrong with a blue and lime green color palette. So I'm doing for this one a Dutch pour technique with a split base to canvas design. So I alternated, and the way that these canvases will hang is the light on the bottom of one and the light on the top of another. I'm using a sky blue light, and then for contrast, using a dark Payne's gray color. Inside for this one, I went with a phthalo blue, and the metallic that I'll be using in this one is silver. And your metallic color that you use really matters as well for the feel of the painting. So here I've just added a turquoise blue and then my lime green with a little bit of white. And the silver is going to cool this palette down even more. If I would have added a gold or a copper or bronze, it would have warmed this palette up a little bit. And I wanted to keep this one super cool and in that family, and so that's why I added in the silver instead. Your color selection and your color choices, they really do matter when you are planning out the painting that you are going to do. Doesn't matter if it's even just a very simple technique. I love the contrast on the dark base versus the light base, and I think the silver was a perfect addition to this one, and the lime green stayed very bright, and it goes so beautifully with that turquoise blue color. Adding in the white also kept it kind of light and airy and brightened the colors as they mix together. And here it is. Love the design. This one was super cool. The silver was just a right pop of shine. Next, I am using black with a lime green and yellow, so again, beside each other on the color wheel. And for one additional color, I added purple as a complementary color to the yellow. This one I call the scorpion. The design, as I started to pour the paint up towards the corner, created a very ant or scorpion-like design. This was also an experiment that I was trying out for the pearl cell technique, and I was seeing how thicker paint would work around the outside when I stretched it out. And I will say it didn't work as well. I definitely like thinner paints for my pearl cells that I get, but it is super fun to experiment around. You can see the tiny pop of purple in this painting, and if you don't like insects or bugs, this one's probably not for you. And I also really liked this painting if I had stopped stretching it right there with just a very linear line of all the colors and white on each side. So I may try that in a video as well. You can see the creature in the middle starting to come out, and that little pop of purple in the corner, I think, was a really nice addition. It dried really dark. You can see it in person and in the light, but the purple definitely was a lot darker. For this one, this is adding brown, and I'm adding a different metallic. I'm adding a bronze color. Because I used bronze and brown, the lime green is actually going to be a little more muted the way you perceive it, and it's not quite as bright. These are some of my favorite colors. They are actually very similar to my wedding colors, the sky blue, the lime, and a brown or tan color. As I had talked about before, adding the silver cooled the painting down, but you'll see this bronze, because it also has that brownish orange undertone to it. This one really warmed this painting up a little bit. I tend to pair my copper tones with reds or oranges, my bronze with browns and oranges, and sometimes red, and then my golds go best with yellow, and silver I like with blues and greens. And that's just a personal preference, but I like to think about them in those color groups so that it allows me to work around the color wheel that way. And you can see how much more muted these colors are, even though I used them in a very similar color palette as before. For this one, I'm adding one of my favorite color combinations to lime green, which is magenta. Red and green sometimes can be very harsh to the eye, but magenta and lime green are a beautiful color combination together. And in this one, I'm using the swipe technique. And with the swipe technique, you can layer colors together that may go to a muddy color or a color that you don't like if you were using thin paint. With the thicker paints, the colors tend to stay a little bit more true to what they are, and especially with the swipe technique. So if you have a color combination that you want to try out, but you're afraid maybe they don't go so well together, I would try them with the swipe technique because they work amazing that way. I've linked my swipe technique guide down below the video in the description and in the comment if you want to check it out. And in this one, again, I chose a silver to go with this. And I chose silver this time to accent the black and the gray bases that I used. Again, you could have used other metallics if you want, but they will change the feel of your painting. Of course, you could always use rainbow colors. Those go well with lime green. There are so many different combinations that you don't have to shy away from that color. You can create some beautiful artwork with a lime green or even a regular green palette. It's also interesting to see how these colors are perceived on the different gradient of bases. So with a black base, the colors really pop. With the light gray base, the colors blend together a little bit more, and it's a little bit less chaotic to the eye. And the middle one allows for a little bit of both. It's a little bit more soothing to look at, but also the colors pop really well on the middle gray base. So super interesting. There's so many different experiments that you can do. I encourage you to play around with color, play around with techniques, and really see what your favorite designs and color combinations are. That is what exploration and growing as an artist on your own journey, that's what it's all about, in my opinion. Out of the three of them, I definitely think the dark black colored base was my favorite out of this set. I love big, bold, bright color. And there you have it, a little bit of motion and flow. And I hope you enjoyed this series on lime green color combinations. Happy painting! Bye!